subscribe, comment, ring the bell. It's just bodybuilding.
That was the greatest episode of my life. We could just film the last 2 questions and just call it. It'd be like a 5-minute video. It's going to be great.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 79 of It's Just Bodybuilding. My co-host Dusty HANSHAW and myself, Big Ron Partlow. And today we have a ton of Instagram questions as usual. We're going to chat about life on It's Just Bodybuilding.
Back. Dogs are back. They're barking. So guys working next door.
I have 3 things right off the bat. First of all, like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell.
Right.
There you go. I like that. That was good. Secondly, I have a correction that I saw it on the comments of the episode, and it was like the second. Actually, it's 2 corrections, but it was the second we were done the episode, I realized I fucked up. But that's what these long-form conversations are. And I got 2 names mixed up. And I was like, fuck, I can't go back and fix that anymore. We were talking about album producers.
Right. And
for just a second, I got Bob Rock and Mutt Lange mixed up. And that really, really fucking irritated me. And I thought, no one will notice. And then one dude noticed and commented. And I was like, fuck, someone noticed. So, I got to correct myself. I was saying how Bob Rock made Metallica's Black Album. And
Mutt Lange.
No, he did that. So I was right about that.
Okay.
But I was saying how he also made Def Leppard's Hysteria. That was Mutt Lange.
Which is the guy who was banging Shania Twain for a long time.
Yeah, he was married to her. Yeah. And then
maybe he wasn't then if they were married, but you know what I mean.
Right. And Shania Twain even wears a Back in Black t-shirt in one of her videos.
See?
Because he did that album. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. So I know all about Mutt Lange and AC/DC. And I got Bob and Mutt. And the reason I got Bob and Mutt mixed up for a second is because they're both kind of famous for bands going to them to get a hit record.
Right.
They're like,
it's time.
We need our stuff played on the radio. You know what I mean? They sort of had
call
that,
them.
Yeah, they sort of had that reputation where it's like, you're a good band, but, like Metallica writing 8-minute songs for 10 years, and then they go to Bob Rock and they write some 4-minute songs, and boom.
He's like, I have an idea. A little fucking long.
Yeah.
A little long here, kids.
Yeah. You're writing music for your 1% most hardcore fans.
Right.
Right? We know how this all works. And then thirdly, you would not believe how close I came to eating this dog treat. It's this beautiful little, it says 3 Dogs Bakery. I don't know. Just found it laying around the house, Emily must
try it.
And it says 3 Dogs Bakery, the bakery for dogs. And then it's this really tasty looking like gingerbread cookie with what appears to be, of course, because I'm thinking chocolate, what appears to be chocolate on it. And it says Jedi for my dog. All of those clues still made me think, this looks good. I didn't quite realize it was 4 dogs. I was thinking, it's a cute little treat with my dog's name on it, and it looks really tasty. I'm going to eat that. And I almost unwrapped it, and then my brain realized that I was having a moment where it wasn't putting stuff together.
Right.
This is 4 dogs. So that was a close call, but that tells you how few treats I have around the house.
You want to try it?
Well, I'm still. That's the funny thing is, even though now I figured out.
Now I kind of want to know because it does look like a tasty treat.
I know.
And I mean, it wouldn't kill you if you tried it right now and we all watched.
Close. I had my finger. I was going to peel it open. I was and I thought, oh wait, this is like a dog bone. So
right.
It took a second. I like to think that I'm smart enough to get through life without eating dog food at any point.
I mean, it's not a Tide Pod, but I got you.
So it could be worse.
Yeah, I'm just trying to show you that there's levels to this shit,
Are you saying that you've eaten something worse this week, Dusty?
I'm not going to add. So, questions. That's cool. How about that football game, huh? Woo.
So let's talk about the football game. What are your thoughts? Did you watch the game?
Of course I watched the game. I'm American. It's what we do.
Right.
I mean, I don't even think it's optional. I think they arrest you if you leave your house during the game.
Right.
Unless you're just getting snacks.
Yes.
All right, so here's the truth. The moment that Brady connected with Gronk for the first touchdown, I was like, they're going to win. Like, it sounds silly. It was only 4 points at that point. Well, 3 at that point.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there was just something about that. The symbolic, like those two again, bad boys coming together. Yeah. Then when they got the second one, I was like, yeah, this is just getting silly. When Gronk scored again, I was like, oh, we're doing this again. Okay.
Yeah, and he has all those people to pick from. Like, he's on a good team. Yeah. But you could tell he's like, I'm throwing it to Gronk.
You know what to do.
At least a few times today, I'm going to make sure he gets something.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts was that I forgot about that fucking commercial they made.
The T-Mobile one?
Yeah, and then it got recirculated. And
I hadn't even seen that until the night before, watching one of Scott's the video that Scott did with Tommy, my training partner. It was one of the commercials, so I just watched it. And I'm like, man, that's fucking hysterical.
Yeah, pretty funny.
One more, like, it's so easy to do.
Yeah, one more.
Be that easy.
Yeah. If you retire, you're soft and weak.
28 hours later, I'm like, oh, that's done. And it's like Joe Donnelly posted that story or that video back up again, the commercial. And he's like, now this is epic.
Yeah, so I forgot. I remember seeing it, but of course, a year ago, we're like, oh, they're not going to go win one.
Yeah.
And then it's funny. I saw Joe repost it, so I put it on I sent it out on my story too. Just I thought everyone needed to rewatch that. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Brady had it up.
Yeah, it was a riot.
I just yeah, man, and like Brady didn't have the best game on the semifinal. Like, no, you know what I mean? And you could, I loved watching him win, man. That's crazy. And then some of the memes. Just so hilarious, and it's never ending.
Oh yeah, no, I've been loving watching all of them just roll through, and but they didn't do the walkout. I didn't get to see the Bad Boys video with Tom and Gronk.
One of my favorite memes was it showed Mahone showing up to the stadium and Brady showing up to the stadium, and Mahone had a mask on.
Non-mask wearers.
You know how this is gonna go.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, poor Mahone getting fucking shit on for Brady rolling up no mask. It's just funny.
What's funny is there was some down here, of course, some retarded leftists are just hammering away at Brady, and I'm like, do I need to be the one that points out he's been COVID tested every day for like months?
Yeah, it's
like they don't have to. Like, it's so stringent on them. Actually, I had somebody attack me on one of my YouTube videos. He goes, I got COVID from someone like a guy just like you walking around. I'm like, you got COVID from a guy who didn't have COVID that wasn't wearing a mask? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because I also don't have COVID that you're going to get COVID from. But yeah, I got you. It's cool. It makes perfect sense. You're a fucking idiot.
The thing that I hate is how like some of the guy talking on the microphone is like wearing a mask.
By himself.
And then you see like there's no one around him.
Yeah.
At all. He's like, well, down here on the sidelines, it's just the theater part.
Well, it's I feel like then in that case, when they're filming inside, but it's cold outside, we should all have beanies on and fucking mittens to remind you that it's cold outside.
Yeah, got to pretend.
Like I know it's 76 in the room we're in, but it's snowing out there.
Out the window behind me, it appears cold. So I'm going to like put mittens on.
Let me make sure you know that it's not safe to go out there without fucking jacket on. So
that's kind of been the number one problem with all of this stuff. I think that most reasonable people can agree, whether they agree on the all the other details. I think most people can agree that part of the problem has been, how they changed their stance based on, don't wear a mask. Masks are useless. Don't wear masks. Oh, okay. We just said that because we didn't want to run out. So now we want you to wear them. They should have, you'd think by now we would know that when you lie to the public, it creates trust issues later down the pipeline. Yeah. And I mean, we all know this from The Boy Who Cried Wolf. I mean, that's the children's fable that they tell us to program that into us so we don't do that as adults.
Yeah. But then they turn around and that's what they do.
They turn around and do that. Oh, we just told you that so that you wouldn't panic. Oh, we just told you that so you wouldn't buy up all the masks. And we just told you that because, blah, blah, blah. But now this is actually what's going on. That's been a huge problem with a lot of the stuff that's happened. And I feel like the theater is a huge part of that. The pretending, there's a guy on the sideline 15 feet from everybody and no one's actually allowed to go talk to him. He's actually standing in a circle and isolated from anyone getting close to him, but we're going to make him wear a mask because he's on TV.
Right.
So just that sort of stupid shit. But you know what? It probably some of that comes down to if he doesn't wear a mask, the phones start ringing.
Right.
And the emails start pouring in and the complaints start, and they just don't want to deal with the complaints, which is what a lot of this is about.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I mean, I hate derailing on the subject because obviously my stance is pretty firm now. But like you said, it's the same. Listen, sometimes you got to handle business.
I know. Look at that powerful yell. You could tell that's very, very commanding. I got to ask him if he's using all the expensive words that he paid thousands of dollars for. See? Hey?
I ever so softly suggested in a positive way that he come inside. I'm going to actually have to close the door because I don't even have his collar on. But they're building a condo across the street from our condos.
Ah. Oh, shit. You're getting neighbors?
I won't be here. I'm leaving.
You're leaving.
2 months. 2 months. I got to get a house again. These guys need a yard. They told me we had a fucking family meeting. We had a powwow. And Donna was like, look, I need a yard. So anyways, back to my story.
She needs a walk-in closet.
Yeah, well, she has that. It's like they said, it's like fibbing on the numbers. Well, now whatever the real numbers are, I'm like, well, you don't have, it's like if you've knocked out 20 dudes and you tell me, I'm like, oh, fuck, it's a lot. If you tell me 50 and then I find out the number's much lower, I'm like, oh, well, maybe he's a bitch.
Yeah, even if it's 30.
Yeah.
I lied about 20 of them.
Why? Yeah.
Yeah,
like
there's something wrong
if you deadlift 800, but you say 850, I just know you're a fucking liar.
What? That's a great quote. If you can deadlift 800, but you say 850, you're still a fucking liar.
Yeah, and 800 is fucking badass.
Yeah, so, it ruins the impressiveness.
Yeah. I've never, which,
See, that's a whole nother rabbit hole, Dusty.
We got to
deep into the human psyche. Deep into the human psyche. Listening to too many of those podcasts.
Well, I listen to you because you get into like that smooth jazz voice, and then I start listening.
Add in your microdosing, and here we go.
Exactly.
I watched Interstellar the other night, by the way. I don't know why the word microdosing made me think of Interstellar, but sort of like.
I wasn't really seeing the. I'm like.
The whole I
ate a hot dog once.
Continuum. Yeah. Anyways, I know we love that movie, and we watched it. I watched it again. Emily and I sat down, gave it a real nice, thorough, proper viewing. Amazing movie. So those of you who haven't seen it, we've recommended it on the podcast a few times.
Seriously, finally, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're healthy and everything's going well.
Awesome. I just got back from where the fuck was I? Jacksonville.
Yeah, you were in Florida.
Yeah, and it was awesome. Trip was good. I went to
where people go to produce content and win Super Bowls.
Well, but I feel like Northern Florida is basically Georgia. Like
I've heard Northern Florida is like a different world.
Yeah, it's not Florida.
Yeah,
but it was awesome, and the thing was good. I trained at a gym that was like 5,000 square feet, and literally all Arsenal equipment.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you using some Arsenal stuff.
Yeah.
Did you use some pieces you'd never tried before?
Well, I got to use my shoulder press. Well, I say mine because we have one on order with the handles just a little bit different than the hammer. Right. Huge fan of that one.
Now, which one is that? Is that like just because I've used a seated Arsenal shoulder press before?
It's the seated. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like fancy about it. Yeah. It's just a.
Yeah, it felt good.
I was trying to figure out what the hell the name of that place was because he gave me some shirts and stuff. But I used a couple pieces. And you know what's funny? I didn't realize my videographer didn't know that dumbbells are like the most expensive piece in the gym.
Oh, so you're explaining what
Yeah,
things
because I was
cost?
like, well, because I was telling him, I'm like, I'm looking at this small gym, and I'm like, he's got upwards of $150,000 of equipment in here, for sure. I mean, everything in there, you know? And then I said, well, fuck, the dumbbells alone are, you know, if you got a steal on them, are 20 grand. And he was like, what? I was like, oh, yeah. The dumbbells are the money. So whenever you see, like, you know, when you see a gym that's got the custom dumbbells with like their logo in the back, I'm always like, whew, that's a
Yeah.
lot of money.
I had some advice from a guy once who owned a bunch of gyms. And he said, get the good dumbbells, but don't get your logo on them because they're harder to sell.
That's
He goes,
valid. Plus, why?
He goes, if you don't get your logo on them, you get good dumbbells, but don't get them logoed. And then you can get new dumbbells one day and they'll be easier to sell your old dumbbells. Another gym can buy them off you. He's like, because I guess he had logoed dumbbells once. And he said they were like a bitch to sell. Like you need someone who doesn't care that your gym logo is on them, right? So some home gym guys
Like a
got to
home
buy
gym,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of funny. Funny advice.
Funny, solid advice.
Okay. I got a couple good questions. I'm sure we'll go off on some tangents, but
What?
I've got some good ones. What are you talking
Why?
about?
Why would we do that? That's a weird thing to say.
Well, now you have to tell me.
That we would go on a tangent?
Oh,
Have we ever?
sorry.
Have we ever just went off the rails for 20 minutes? Oh wait, yes we have. Never mind.
Okay. Let's start with this one, Dusty. Let's start
All
with
right,
this one.
let's go big.
What's your most? I know we've probably discussed this before, but I don't remember what your answer was, and maybe you got a different one now. What's your most embarrassing moment working out in the gym?
I don't have anything earth shattering, like just dumb shit, like not paying attention and like the rack that holds the pull down bars and shit, like knocking into one and knocking 4 of them off. But
Right.
I mean, shit like that doesn't even make, that's like spilling your coffee. Like I don't even break speed thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You just fix it and move on.
Yeah. So I don't have anything bad. You?
I have a pretty good one. I might have told this story before. Did I tell you the story about when I tipped over the leg press?
No, but that's definitely embarrassing.
Oh,
That's worse than knocking 1 bar off the damn thing.
Yeah, I was training at a gym. Oh man, they're good guys that own that gym. They kind of let me get away with murder. And I was training legs one day, and they had the leg press and the hack squat back to back like this, right? So the leg press and the hack squat, and they went butted right up against one another. And so I was finished my last set. I remember I had the leg press loaded up, so I had like 11 plates aside. I remember that leg press held 11 plates aside, and I had it full right to the end of the pin. And so I stood on the one side and I started pulling plates off and putting them on the frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought, oh, I have also got to put some plates on the hack because I'm going to the hack next. So I threw a few up on the hack squat pin,
Right.
you know, because I could go straight into 3 plates on that hack, no problem. So I just loaded up 3 on that. And then I kept putting them on the frame, but I was putting them on the hack squat frame.
And not on a leg press frame.
And not on a leg press frame. So there's only like 2 or 3 plates on the leg press frame on that side and 11 plates on the other side on the sled. And the leg press stuff wasn't bolted down in there. It was like it was on the island. A lot of old people train there. I'm sure no one fills that fucking leg press up.
Right.
And so it just been the first time that anyone had 11 plates out on the arm, out on the sled, and hardly any plates on the frame on the far side. And I just kept pulling them off, but I was standing because I'd put some on the hack. I was standing like wide, and I wasn't putting them on the leg press pins. And all of a sudden, I pulled like one of the last plates off, and I just saw the pin go right up in front of my face. The fucking arm just.
Did you try to grab it?
I don't remember, but I remember like as it turned, as it flipped, plates went bing, 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 like. Just started sliding off the other
like
side.
Wood off the plate, yeah.
And the leg press just flipped on its side. And it was fucking loud. Because this gym didn't have a rubber floor everywhere. So the leg equipment was on concrete. It was just like concrete floor.
Dude.
And it was so fucking loud. And I remember the owner came running in, and there was hardly anyone training that day. And the scary thing though was they had a sissy squat bench. You know, this is the ankle bench for sissy squats beside the leg press. And there had been a guy using that the whole time I was leg pressing. He was doing sissy squats.
So you could have killed someone.
He had just moved on. He had just moved on. That sissy squat was covered in a pile of plates with a leg press right in it. So yeah.
You know what's bad about that, about your story, is I'm such an asshole. Like, if I saw that, I'd be like, are you fucking kidding, dipshit? It's a teeter-totter. You can't take the weight off of one side. Because literally, and I don't know equipment like you do, and I understand it's racked, but I will take off, if I was alone and say I had 20 plates on a leg press, 10 aside, I'd take 2 off of the right, walk to the left, take 2 off. Walk to the right. Like, I literally go back and forth all the way down to 0. Because in my head, I don't want to fuck up the machine, even though it's on the thing, and I'm sure it doesn't matter. But I wouldn't unload a Smith that way, so I don't unload a leg press that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so like a leg press and a hack, I would usually go like halfway, go around, like that's what I normally do. But that day I was just pulling plates off onto the frame, and it was
fucking sleepwalking.
Sleepwalking, because I know that brand of leg press. That was the one I grew up on. It was exactly the same as the old one I grew up on. So I knew that if you had plates on the frame, it was totally fine and all that stuff. But it wasn't bolted down either. And maybe you get used to equipment that's bolted down in some gyms, you know, fucking crazy. I always freak out when people pull, like, let's say they have 225 on a bar.
Right.
And they pull both plates off one side.
Yeah. I mean, I know technically that'll hold, but I wouldn't do that either.
It'll hold. But it's like, you don't have to lean on the end very hard to flip it at that point. No,
right? A fucking love tap.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm always like, yeah. So
yeah, I always think also, even, is it perfectly centered? Like, if it was slid over, could it flip?
Right.
I think it probably could.
Or if the rack's a little narrower. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm the same. Like, that's a 1 back and forth every time, you know. Right. And it's a bench, so I'm not using much weight anyway, so I'm a bitch on pressing, so it's all good.
Okay, your turn.
Careful, I've got some good ones. Okay, you haven't watched Peaky yet, though. You still haven't watched Peaky Blinders.
No, I haven't. I'm on some shows, but I'm backed up.
All right. Well, I'm going to answer this real quick then. But the question is, who's my favorite Peaky Blinder character?
Oh, and it's Tom Hardy.
Yeah, it's Alfie Solomon. It's not even close. It's fucking unreal. So, yeah, that's that. And Scott Thomas, I hope that's your favorite as well. So, okay, next one.
I'm looking forward to watching that show. Hey, here's a question.
This is a good one for you, though. Wait, you'll like this. What color chucks are the best, and why is it red? I smiled when I read that one. That's like, that's
funny.
It's good shit.
That goes with half of what I own.
Exactly.
Man. Okay, here's one. Let's. I hope you got it. I'm kind of expecting.
Oh boy.
Kind of expecting an answer out of you, Dusty, here on this one.
One sec, I'm gonna get a drink. I'm getting excited.
Yeah. Okay.
Go.
It's from a friend of mine. What's something that you do that you don't think anyone else does?
Something I do that like anyone else does?
Well, I don't think he means any other human on the planet, but not typical. Like like anything you do as a bodybuilder that you don't think other bodybuilders do? Anything you do as a human being?
Yes. Probably everything in my house. Yeah. I can encompass the entire thing and say, if you were to come to my house at any point in time, every single thing, I know exactly where it is. Meaning, like, if you said to me, where is the onion powder? It's right there on the second shelf, second from the right.
Right.
Because that's how I keep my house. So I think that would be my weird thing. Like, yeah, I could direct you to my house like it's street maps. Right. And if somebody, so what's funny, like I forgot to grab my mic, and my housekeeper was here and I was gone, and she moved the mic stand and I didn't know where it was. I had a small heart attack while I was looking for the mic. That's why it took so long.
Right. Like, so how would you say your house is like immaculately organized? Would you put it that way?
Yes. And clean.
And
always.
So what else is immaculately organized and clean? Like what do you consider your domain? Like the inside of your vehicle is the same
And the outside.
and the outside. So your vehicle in your house, where does it stop? Is that pretty much it?
No, it doesn't. The gym now. The gym has become mine. I haven't done it yet. I have to call him today, but we're enforcing a new rule on leaving weights on the equipment. I'm going to do like a $30 fine, or you can sacrifice your membership. Those are your options.
Right.
Because I'm sick of that. I watched a kid yesterday. Actually, it was funny. We're training, and I said, Tommy, you see that kid on the leg press? And he's like, yeah. I said, you see him deadlifting yesterday? He was fucking getting after it. And he wasn't like crazy strong, but I mean, that kid didn't leave a single rep, right? So here I've put him on this pedestal, and I said, I like that fucking kid. Fast forward 30 minutes, he leaves the leg press with 200s on it on each side and 4 plates. So I see him walking out, and I'm like, nope. Walk over, I'm like, hey, get your shit off the fucking leg press. He's like, oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm like, no, you didn't. You chose. You chose to leave your shit. I'm like, there's women in here that can't take that 100-pound plate off. Like, that drives me fucking batshit.
Yeah.
So, and if you leave an inch on that, it gets bad. Like, I'm telling you, like, by default, if you were a messy person, but you came to my house, you wouldn't be messy. Because you would look around and be like, fuck, if I leave one thing, it's going to, like, you'd wipe my counter off and you got water on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how it is at the gym. If you keep that standard at your gym, I know damn well people that maybe would leave their shit on some other gym don't at your gym.
Right.
So, yeah. So, no, it doesn't stop anywhere.
Yeah.
And I actually judge people on their pictures, too. You know, when people put a picture up on Instagram and it's like they're hitting a great shot, and I'm like, you live like that? That shit behind you? You should clean that up. That's all I can see. I don't even see your body. Like,
I remember
a frog on the ground. What the fuck is that?
Remember when Seth had like 2 little kids and he posted those photos of him in his living room and there's toys everywhere? And
but he gets a pass on that one because of what it is. But yes, I do actually. I remember because I mean I do that when I take a picture of my food. I'll see like a piece of paper that's not supposed to be there, and I'm like, oh, one sec. I'll lean forward and move it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. That's why I don't really like, I don't do stuff inside the condo very often. We've always got something like kind of a pile of something here, a pile of something there. Like it's always really clean and tidy, but there'll be like one pile. Like we're always living
like
in
the mail is right there. Yeah.
Yeah, the mail's there on the table, and I go to take a shot. And I'm like, I don't want my mail in the shot, so I just don't take the shot. I was gonna take a fuck, my half open mail is sitting right here. I don't care, but I'm consumed with you judging me.
You know what's so great about it too? I said that the other day. I'm like, I shouldn't judge, but I do. So here's what I'm going to say. And it's okay because you're allowed to judge me too. The only problem is I know all my shit.
Right. You handle judgment very well. Like you see it coming.
Well, how could I not? I mean, I'm a fucking open target. I had a guy ask me the other day about what pants I wear. I'm like, I think they stopped making these pants in like 2012. And I still have, and it's funny because my friend that's an oral surgeon, she sewed them once for me. And I said, I have a surgeon sewing my pant crotch because there's a hole.
because I like them.
I told her, I said, your parents must be so proud of where the money went.
Yeah. How's your work going? I'm doing good with surgery. I got a new hobby. I'm fixing jeans for my buddy.
Exactly. And the worst part is like they just look that bad. They even look terrible. So it's like I judge knowing that I'm an open target as well, and that's okay. Right. I'm fucking old, and they don't make cool pants anymore. So what am I gonna do?
Right. Hey, I feel you. It was funny. We were watching an episode of our show the other night, and they had like a flashback to like 20 years ago.
And he was wearing shit you were wearing that day.
No, and there's this like hot older woman who's in it. She's kind of milfy, right? She's kind of like one of like the attractive women in the show. And it flashes back, and they've got her like, they do the makeup so she looks younger, and they got her hair like a little bit different. And she's wearing low-rise jeans, like really low-rise jeans. And I'm like, oh, low-rise jeans. Oh man. I sit up in the edge of my seat. Emily just looks at me. She's like, oh. because she doesn't. She loves the, all the girls love the high waisted stuff now, right? They all
like
love
the
that.
ugly ones. I know.
And I'm always joking about. I can't wait for low rise jeans to come back.
Yeah, so, like you should. The fact that you can safely sit down without half your ass hanging out is just not acceptable to me.
I want to see the T-bar like peeking out at me.
Exactly.
Like reach over the counter to get something. I want T-bar.
You remember like what was it? Wedding
We
crashers?
thought we were making progress, Dusty.
Tattoo on lower back. Might as well be a bullseye.
Like that's the world that I was doing well in and was happy in. And this new world is just difficult for me sometimes. I think you would agree. Okay.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for watching another podcast here at Think Big Bodybuilding Media. And thank you to our great sponsor, TrueNutrition.com, for making this all possible. TrueNutrition.com is owned by Dante Trudell, the creator of DC Training. He wanted to create a supplement company that offered high-quality, third-party tested supplements at a fair price. High-quality protein powders, just about every type you could think of. Huge variety of flavors, plus health and performance supplements. Check them out, TrueNutrition.com. And hey, if you use our code ADVICES, you directly support our podcasting. Thanks, guys. Let's get back to the program.
You got one, or is it my turn?
It is your turn.
If you had a warning label for yourself, what would it say for other people to read? If you came with a warning label.
Oh my God. Wow, that's a beautiful one. Man, what would it say? What is yours? I'm gonna think. I'm thinking.
I often think that I talk about things that no one else gives a shit about. So be like, warning, we'll talk for 10 minutes about something that you don't fucking care about. Warning. You'll be driving in the car with this human, and a song will come on, and you will get a story from 1998. And we're really sorry about that, but that's what happens when you travel with this model of human. The Ron Parlow edition will randomly tell you a story that you don't care about and won't remember.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my warning label.
It's good. I think, I hate to say it, but like mine would be something on the lines of what we just talked about. Like, warning, he's absolutely judging you.
Right.
Because I do that, and it's not always bad, but I literally will be sitting somewhere. It's the same. Like, I went to a restaurant the other day, and I remember the lady, it's just like a buy your chicken and leave it kind of place. And I remember thinking, if I had a business here, I would hire her. I would steal her from here.
Right.
Because she was that good. So it's not always shitty. Sometimes it's really good. Or like I had a really weird waitress recently that she was literally like, here comes your stupendous chicken salad with a touch of lemon. And I'm like, relax. And it was every time she came, this is your wonderful Diet Coke. I'm like, it's a fucking Diet Coke. Relax.
Right.
And she was training a kid, and I could see his face. Like, I don't know if I want this job enough to work with her for 2 more days. And our entire table, it was like a running thing. We were like, I wonder what the next thing is going to be. So then when she finally like let him come to the table, he's like, here's your fucking chicken. And I'm like, my man. Like, you could see he was so irritated. He like brought it down so far. He's like, oh, here's the rest of your shit.
That's good.
So yeah, that would be me. I'm definitely watching, judging, look at the baby. I
would also come with a warning that I spontaneously nap at any time. Do not be offended.
Right.
I might need to nap. You might be all excited, and I'm just going to go to sleep in the car for a bit while we're driving. That has to happen. Would you agree?
I love that. I do it all the time. If I get to the gym 10 minutes early, I'm not afraid to close my eyes.
So if it's leg day, I go in the back office, turn the lights off, put my headphones in, play some music, pull my hat down, and like sometimes I fall asleep for like 10 minutes. And then I have my alarm set for when we're supposed to train. And just like goes off, and I just walk straight out on the gym floor. That's my favorite way to train legs, is go from like asleep to warming up on the bike in like a 60-second time period.
Yeah, I'm the same. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, some people can't take a little nap.
No,
It'll-
like
it'll
it
wreck
clears
them.
my head.
Yeah,
Like,
I close
come
my eyes
out
for
of a
10
nap,
minutes. I'm like, let's roll.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fresh again. You know.
Yep. Yep. It's your turn now, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and I got a milli.
I gotta go. But you got to go first.
Favorite condiments or salad dressings that you use?
Hot sauce and sugar-free ketchup. It's pretty much all I use.
What kind of hot sauce?
Frank's Red Hot, just basic Canadian hot sauce.
Frank's is not Canadian.
I thought it was.
I thought it was stabbed that. I don't even know if that's true. I just fucking came over the top like it is.
I
have no idea.
I was under the impression Frank's Red Hot was Canadian. You use it down there? Use Frank's Red Hot? There you go.
1 second.
And then, if I go out, I'll have teriyaki sometimes, but I don't really have it in my house.
It says that Canadians reach for Frank's Red Hot sauce.
It's the number one.
But wait.
It's actually made in the States? I don't know.
Produced in Springfield, Missouri. Okay.
Okay.
Do you like how strong I came out and I didn't even know if that was an answer? I was like, that's not made in Canada. You're like, really? I'm like, I don't know.
Hey.
We just have it here too.
I thought it was more popular in Canada than it was in the States for like a long time. Like you guys used like Tabasco and other hot sauces.
We use all sorts of weird shit here.
I remember there was
Frank's isn't always at like a store or at a restaurant. Here.
Yeah, like if you ask for hot sauce at a restaurant, they mostly give you Tabasco, don't they?
Or they'll bring like that, or sriracha, or you know what I mean,
or something. Whereas up here, if you say hot sauce, they bring you like a big like fucking side cup of Frank's. You know what I mean? Was that yours?
That was mine.
Best 3 supplements for broke college kids.
Creatine, monohydrate. I mean, I'm not counting vitamins and minerals, just so you know.
Right.
An EAA would be something I would definitely use.
What about like a whey isolate?
Yeah, it'd have to be.
You consider that a food?
Yeah, I do. But if we were going to, and I would say whey, and I wouldn't even say it has to be an isolate.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper, you know?
Yeah, I would say just a good whey protein, creatine monohydrate. And I would put a good protein and creatine monohydrate so far up the ladder above other supplements that I'm not even going to list a third supplement.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like if you said what's this, like creatine is something, I'd be like, you should use
he's
that.
broke. Because it says he's broke. So yeah. I would just say if you're broke, get a protein and a creatine mono and save the rest of your money and buy food. That's what I would say.
Right.
And if you make good choices with your food, you won't need a lot of sups. Like if he eats a certain amount of fish, he won't need to take fish oil. If he eats, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
This is a good one, and I need your answer because I suck at this. What would you consider strong for a normal person?
Normal person?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I for some reason always thought that any normal dude, like just Joe from the office or Bob from the bakery or whatever, any dude that can bench 225 is like really strong compared to most people.
Right.
Most people can't bench 225. We had this discussion before. Like they just have never, most people have never fucking bench pressed. A normal person, anytime I see someone repping 225 in the gym, I'm like, oh, that guy's actually like really strong, population wise.
Yeah, it's funny because we had that other question. If 225 for 10 put you in the top, 5% in the world or something like that? And I was like, no. Yeah. And then I'm like, well, maybe.
Yeah. Anyone who could deadlift 3 plates, pretty strong. Like, 300-pound deadlift, most people, they don't. Like they barely
what's crazy, and I think you know this, like I think a lot of people assume that you're watching their strength when you're in the gym, and what impresses me with people is intensity.
Yeah.
Like I literally don't give a shit how much weight's in the bar. Like I said, just that kid the other day, like I looked over and he was deadlifting like 275 or something, nothing crazy. And I remember in my brain going, fuck. Nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you're getting after it. And I'm rowing 455 right next to him. But my brain wasn't thinking about numbers. It was like, you're watching somebody, you're like, oh, he's done. And then he gets one more. He goes down and he's he's gonna go. Like he went until he couldn't go, and I was like,
there's a bunch of young guys at my gym, because like I'm also a safety guy, right? Like I'll train to absolute failure anytime, and I've dumped a lot of squat bars off my back, squatting to failure.
Yeah.
And but I always set the rack up.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it to like be safe. And I understand the no rack, you got to do it or die. And I'm like, well, that's fun in games. But once, like, I don't know, there's a point where I'm like, no, I'll just set the rack.
I don't think that ever makes sense. Like, I do get, because I used to squat free, but it's because if I was doing that, I don't have a spotter, which meant my plan was to jump forward. Like, so it's hitting the rack or it's hitting the ground, and I'm squatting in a power rack, like, or on a platform. Yeah. So it's okay if it falls. But I do think that, you know, even then it's going to that level of failure is like, I think I videoed it 2 years ago. It's been a long time, but one time I had a video, I was training alone, and I got pinned by the hack squat. I went up and it came back down, and I posted the video that way because it's what happened. And I remember people were like, "Oh, I can't believe you left that." And I'm like, "What do you mean? That was a great fucking set."
Yeah.
I just thought I had one more, and I didn't.
There's a young guy at my gym who squats real heavy. He looks thin for his strength. Mm-hmm. So whenever he's squatting, I always notice people like look at him and look at the bar and raise their eyebrows and stuff. They're like, that kid's not going to squat that, because he doesn't look big, and he'll go up to like 4 plates. He looks like skinny, like I don't know what he weighs, 180 or something.
Yeah.
But he'll go up to 4 plates, and it just sort of like people notice, or like, that looks like a lot of weight. This guy's going to get crushed. But then he backs it out and he fucking squats it, no problem.
Right.
But he squats without the pins up. He's always takes them right out. And he like squats max like they are max.
He's going to absolute hell.
Like he'll do a heavy single where like the bar goes up like this fast.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm leaving the pins in if I'm moving.
And I'm tempted to go say to him like, dude, you should leave the pins up. But at the same time, he's never failed.
Yeah, like maybe that's his thing. He's never
dropped one.
I'm not letting it be an option.
Yeah.
I do like that though, when someone surprises you. You know who did that for me? Like one of the first people to throw me off was Azaria. When I trained legs with her the first time, and she squatted 225 for like 15. Yeah. And I'm like, no, like ass to grass, perfect form, and shit wasn't to failure. She like got done and just racked it. She's like, you weigh like 120 pounds.
Yeah. There's a kid at my gym at the gym who man, he's a pretty small dude. He must weigh like 165, but he goes up to 4 plates and like does triples.
Right.
And I'm like, you're really strong. And he's like, oh, it's only 405. And I'm like, yeah, but you weigh, what do you weigh? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's impressive. I like seeing that. Okay. Is it my turn?
Thing in reverse, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you see bodybuilding heading next? What is the next era?
We're in it. I mean, like my answer is I don't see bodybuilding changing anything. Like even as we add more divisions and do, like, I feel like there's this desire to see it going mainstream. And really what's happening is the sport is opening enough that more people are coming to it. Yeah. But we're never going to go to the people. You're never going to see us on ESPN or in the Olympics or any of those things. And I never even understood the desire.
Yeah.
I like us being who we are. And if you're interested, come see. You know, it's like it's the comparison to a circus. Like, you know, you're gonna have to come to us if you want to see the freaks. And I think that like it has opened up more and more because there are more things to look at. But at the end of the day, bodybuilding is as freaky or freakier than ever. I'm really stoked to see, like this year, what made me happy at the Olympia is we have a clear divide between bodybuilding and classic physique.
Yeah, that's good to see.
And we need that at the local level, the regional level, the national level, because I still get a lot of guys that hit me up and they're like, I think I'm going to do classic. I'm like, I think that's a fucking terrible idea. You're a small bodybuilder, and it's going to take years to get you to become a big bodybuilder. But you're not classic. They just think because they're smaller that they're classic.
Because their weight is a certain number.
Yeah. It's like, well, I can, based on my height, I can make weight. And I'm like, but you're built like me. Like, no, there's nothing. You know what I mean?
Your 170 doesn't look great.
Yeah.
That other guy's 170 looks crazy because he has real small bones and round muscle bellies and better genetics. So he can be 170 and look awesome. But you at 170 just look like you need to gain 20 pounds of muscle.
Well, I know I can tell you this. When I was when I was lighter, people used to guess that I weighed less than I did.
Yeah.
Because my bone structure is so heavy. It wasn't until I was like 260 plus that people started guessing higher than I weighed.
I'm the sort of the same way. People always guess lower. They'd be like, "What are you, 275?" I'd be like, "I'm 290." And they'd be like, "Oh, or 300." But then once I was 320, people were like, "What are you, 320?"
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You do hit a point where it stops, and now most people guess higher than I am. Like when I'm right at even 280, they're like, "What do you weigh, like 300?" I'm like, "Not even close."
See, I get that now because I stay real lean. So I get a lot of people who are like, "Man, what are you walking around at, 275?" I'm like, "I'm 250." And they're like, "What?" So
that's a good thing, though. I always want to feel like people think I'm bigger than I am, not smaller.
Yeah, I had to retire to get that to happen. Did you see the?
Retirement?
The meme of all the pictures of Tom Brady's face, and it says, COVID will only be around a year, and then it said COVID. It's like he actually ages in reverse. He's better looking than when he got drafted.
Yeah, it's amazing what money and winning will do. I saw another one that was funny. It said Tom Brady's kids visit the Super Bowl like they're heading to grandma's every year.
Yeah, we going this year? Yeah, we're going this year. Okay.
The picture that was it was his daughter that's definitely not 10 years old, and that's his 10th. And that's his 10th trip to the Super Bowl. I'm kind of like,
yeah. You can tell she's bored. She's like, "Oh, it's another parade. Do we have another parade to go to?"
Yeah. I love the perspectives of things. I think it was funny, but I was watching this thing, like 2 years ago. Gary Vee took his daughter to a Knicks game.
Right.
And she's like, "How do people get seats way up there?" And he's like, "Oh, well, it's you just pay for your seats, and that's where you sit." She's like, "They're lucky," and she's on the floor. Like, no perspective of what's happening.
It's like, we're sitting in $10,000 seats right now, honey.
Exactly.
Those
but he talked about
look from so up high.
Exactly. And when you're that age, it's like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's shit down here where they're getting sweat on you.
Well, it's funny. I remember going to concerts and, pushing myself up to the railing, getting, kicked in the face and other people's sweat all over.
Blood. Yeah.
Blood. Fucking, I came out of some concerts with my shirt missing, like, and then, and I remember looking up at the booths, all the fancy booths, and thinking all those fucking losers up there don't know how to go to a concert. You know what I mean? And then, years later, you're sitting in the booth eating some chicken fingers, watching the show from your comfortable seat, and you're like, those disgusting pigs down there in the front row by the railing. I can't imagine living like that, DNA soup going on down there. Just disgusting barbarians.
In a petri dish all together.
Yeah, petri dish of shit. And I'm sitting up here with some more chicken fingers, please.
I'm a little low on ranch over here.
Yeah. No ranch. Come on now. Barbecue sauce. You know how to eat.
Where you go.
Yeah.
That's a separate YouTube channel. Sorry, I had a whole argument about where you get your chicken fingers and what you put on them, because I find I get different things at different places based on their chicken fingers. Anyway, separate subject. Okay, is it my turn?
That's true. It is.
Okay. When are you going to do a podcast with your buddy Jose? That would be hilarious. Scott, this is the part where you're going to put a link to the one that we did like 6 weeks ago with Jose.
Yeah.
So
dude, we've had Jose on twice, right?
Yeah, and one was before the Olympia, close to it.
Yeah.
What? Because that was the one I had to reschedule, or you had to reschedule. You had to reschedule. Yeah,
we
that one.
Figured it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Here's a great one. We both got this one, and I saw you already mention it, but I got to bring it up again.
Oh boy, here we go.
It's the farthest you ever traveled to get laid.
And there it is again. Well, it really depends because, I could go this as far as saying that sometimes we were in Germany and I needed to go home to get laid.
Oh, right.
Scottsdale. So, if you really think about it, I've made some long trips.
Right. Okay.
But I found the more impressive question I got the other day was, what is the smallest place that you've ever gotten laid? And mine was the 3 Series BMW 2-door.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a ninja. So there you go. I didn't say it was good. I said I got the job done. So now you have to answer both. I've added to your question. I fucking one-upped it. And you don't get to travel.
So, no, I'm trying to find the car model.
The car model. This is great. Now I'm like,
yeah, I can't remember the model, and now it's like bothering.
Fiat. Come on, Fiat.
No, it was small.
Yeah,
oh yeah. So okay.
I fucking love the face. Here it goes.
Okay, so the farthest I ever traveled to get laid, I don't know the farthest. I guess I don't know distance, but I'll tell you the most harrowing trip that I ever made was I drove 3 hours in a really dangerous, horrible blizzard.
In your truck?
In a pickup truck.
Your pickup truck, the one
with
I know.
I threw a couple sandbags in the back just to give it a little extra weight. And there was all these warnings: stay off the highway, bad snowstorm coming.
Don't do it if you don't have chains.
Yeah, and don't drive. And I'm like, I'm a farm kid.
There's a sign: don't do it, Ron.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm a farm kid. I'm not a city kid. I don't have
Juice
to listen
isn't
to
worth
these.
the squeeze.
I don't have to listen to these fucking driving warnings. I'm a farm kid. I can drive through anything. These people are idiots. And I got off work that night at around 10 p.m. I remember I was working at Zeller's. It's like a department store, And I got off work at 10 p.m. and punched out, hit the highway. And it's about a 3-hour drive. And I think her parents were out of town or something. So she said, come over for the weekend. And it was like a 3-hour drive, but it took me like 4.5, 5 hours because it was fucking terrible. And I wound up getting behind the semi and just following the semi because the semi was like clearing the road.
You drafted him the whole way.
I drafted the semi because like the drift, the snow drift was so crazy. I was afraid I couldn't really see where the road was.
Right.
But the semi, he's got all those fucking huge lights on him and he's like just plowing through. When he would go through, all the snow would blow off the road. You could see the lane.
Right.
So I just got behind him and I just because I was trying to drive, it was really dangerous. I was like white knuckled and starting to think I should turn around. And then I got locked in behind the semi and I was like, okay, I can make it. I'll just fucking follow this guy. And we went slow, but I made it. And that I got to the other end of that trip and I was just like, holy fuck, luckily things worked out.
She saw that as true love.
That's commitment.
It is.
Commitment.
And you still didn't come up with the car, so that hurts my feelings, but that's fine.
No, I had to look it up. Toyota Yaris.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
You're significantly taller than me too, just for those who are keeping score.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
I'm proud
of you.
What
I'm saying? That'd be the smallest.
Let's see here.
No airplanes.
Yeah. No. There's a few things I've never understood, like the whole obsession with the Mile High Club. I'm like, have you ever been in one of those bathrooms?
Bathrooms are disgusting anyways. You don't want to
there's just nothing about that I'm like, oh, this will be necessary or fun.
Yeah.
No, I'm out.
I worked in the clubs, so I've seen people fucking in stalls before. It's like,
yeah, of course. I don't get that though.
Disgusting animals.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Who gets it?
Come on, Dusty.
I'm trying to get some good ones here.
Hit me up. It's supposed to circle 5.
5? We're going to be... Oh, here's a good one. Any celebrity that you would love to train with?
Oh. Well, I mean, I'd love to train with The Rock. That'd be fun.
Right.
You know, it'd be fun to train with The Rock. I don't know. What other celebrities?
My initial was
Hugh
John
Jackman?
Cena.
Hugh Jackman works out? Oh,
John Cena, because he used to train at San Diego Worlds, and I loved it because he was already John Cena at that point, and he would be in there fucking blasting.
Mm-hmm.
Like leg day was like he was, a 19-year-old kid just trying to get big fucking wheels. I thought that was super impressive because it's like I can definitely see how success and money and all that could soften you if this isn't what you love to do. You know what I mean? Like he was training in there like he was there to work, not like he was John Cena. And like to the point that people weren't bugging him when he was training because they knew better.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think it was respect. It was more like, no, that fucking guy is getting after it. We'll wait over here.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah.
So, yeah, he would be tough to keep up with. Literally, that's how brutal the workout was.
So would The Rock. I see The Rock's workouts like, he does a lot of like, a lot of supersets and stuff and high reps. Like he finishes a workout with, 5 sets of 20 on the safety bar squat. And, just like that's a lot of sets, a lot of volume. I don't know. Hugh Jackman deadlifts heavy. He trains hard. Wolverine.
Does he?
He trains really hard. Yeah. So I don't know.
I've never seen his stuff.
Yeah, I remember when there was a deadlift video of him pulling like 450 when he was getting ready for Wolverine. He was deadlifting like 450. And everyone's like, is Hugh Jackman on steroids? And people were like, no, 450 is not a crazy deadlift. He's doing real good for, almost 50. Like he's like in his mid 40s, right? At that point. And they're like, Hugh Jackman trains real hard. He's in really good shape, And
I'm going to bet he is on TRT because why would he not be at his age?
Yeah, who gives a shit?
It has nothing to do with why he's deadlifting at 450, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. It's me. Do you think there's a difference between bodybuilders and influencers who compete?
I don't like all-encompassing answers because my answer is yes.
But also no. Because because literally, here's what's funny. If you were to say to me, are you a bodybuilder or are you an influencer? I would not say bodybuilder. And that sounds funny to people, but it's like my career exists because of influencing and social media. If it was the 90s, I'd be starving. If we were relying on winning as a bodybuilder to be the reason I'm sponsored, I wouldn't have any sponsors. So by default, I think I'm more that than the other. But in that exact same sentence, it's going to be really hard to find someone who bodybuilds more bodybuilder-ish than I do. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because I would train this way without social media. I would, and I guess it goes all the way back to like, what is a bodybuilder? Because I don't think you have to even compete to be a bodybuilder.
Right.
I think you have to compete to be a competitive bodybuilder, but that doesn't mean you're not bodybuilding. So
yeah. So here's my thing. I totally agree with you with the yes and no sort of thing. It depends on how you want to word it. It's all down to semantics with this stuff. But one thing that I always wanted to do was I always wanted the term bodybuilding to have a more positive connotation to it.
Right.
So if someone is working out, watching their nutrition, putting in some effort, and wanting to physically look more muscular, right? Whether it be, I like how that guy's shoulders cap out and they don't know how to word it. I want my triceps to pop more. And they say, they use words like that, like that don't really mean anything. You want to add muscle and lose fat, and you want to look cosmetically appear more muscular is what you want. You just don't know how to put it into words.
Right.
And if you use the word muscular, a lot of people are like, no, that's what you want. Mm-hmm. You want abs. You want the cut here on the shoulder. That's more muscular.
Right.
I want those people to not be afraid to say they're doing some bodybuilding. Yeah, I'm taking up some bodybuilding. I got a new hobby. instead of just saying, oh, I'm working out and trying to get leaner and trying to, you know, add a little muscle. They're afraid to use the word. And I think the word applies to them. They're bodybuilding. They're bodybuilding, just like you might do another hobby of some kind, you know.
Yeah, if I'm doing jujitsu at the lowest level, it's still jujitsu.
Yeah, you're still doing some jujitsu, you know, practicing some jujitsu. You know, I suck, but I'm practicing some, you know.
Yeah.
So they're doing some bodybuilding.
Yeah,
so,
and I think that's across the board, right? Because
yeah,
I say that to my female clients as well, where I'm like, well, when you're looking at your bodybuilding, they might be a bikini girl. But to me, that's all encompassing.
Yeah, like a figure athlete contacted me the other day and was asking me a lot of questions. And sometimes, and this is no offense to anyone too, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but when you're talking to someone about helping you, like a coach, there's you know, sometimes people say stuff and you're just like, I don't really think I'm a good fit for this person.
Yeah, all the time.
You know what I mean? It just happens all the time. Anyways, I just said to this person, I was like, listen, you want to be a figure competitor. Like she started naming physiques that she loves.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, you have to train like a bodybuilder.
Right.
For like a significant number of years to look like that. And she was like, well, no, but I don't want to be a bodybuilder. And I'm like, that's what a figure competitor is. It's a bodybuilder with great shape and genetics
and high heels.
And high heels, who has built a certain type of physique, you know, with a lot of emphasis on silhouette and shape, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And so I think some people don't quite get that.
Yeah.
And I also feel your thing about how you, like, you know, am I more of an influencer now than I am a bodybuilder? Like, fuck, it's a weird word to use, influencer. I hate that fucking word. But I don't expect to influence anybody.
Yeah, I think that's what's funny about influencing is it's actually not the goal. Because I like when someone will come on my page and argue with me about how I'm doing an exercise. I'm like, I didn't say you had to do it like this.
Right.
This is a video of me training the way I train.
Yeah.
And the results it gives me. But if you think it's shit, I wouldn't. If you told me it was shit right to my face, I wouldn't even like argue with you. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't need you to do what I do. This is just what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I also try not to ever hate. I would say never hate I can't ever hate on someone's hustle, you know? So if someone is an influencer, I mean, fuck, if they're getting paid, they're getting paid, you know? I might think I might not like their branding or whatever, but if they're getting paid, fuck, you know, all the power to them. Did you just silence yourself, Dusty? Yes, you did. Hey. Okay. See, look at all this. See the commands? There we go. Are we going to need to edit this?
No, we want to leave all that in. It's great stuff. It's great footage.
So I got one for you.
Shoot.
I've kind of been avoiding drug questions lately.
Oh, but we're going head on. Let's do this.
Yeah. But so is there a big difference in the gear between powerlifting, strongman, and bodybuilding?
In my experience with top level guys, yes. I don't know enough about strongman to comment. Powerlifting, they're way harsher on their bodies than we are. Way harsher. I've seen top level powerlifters cycles and I'm like, oh, fuck. And then to add insult to injury, because I know nutrition, so a lot of them, and not all, but a lot of them still haven't evolved on the eating. So they're also eating terrible food. And I'm like, so you're already a little overweight and you're taking these drugs and you're poisoning yourself with food. Fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree on the strongman thing. I honestly don't know if I've really talked to many strongmen about drugs at all.
I haven't.
In fact, like a lot of the strongmen I've known have just been like drug-free strongmen, to be honest.
Right.
But I don't know much about that. But the real serious powerlifters that I've talked to, first of all, they don't bother with half the drugs that a bodybuilder would use.
No,
because they're, fat loss and hardness related. They're just not using them for the most part. But I have seen some really, really high doses of test and really high doses of tren.
Right.
And huge amounts of anadrol and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it was enough where it made me go like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know? So, and you're right about the food, you know, you wonder what the blood lipids look like when there's a, constant influx of, McDonald's and shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not asking if you're fucked. I'm just wondering how fucked you are.
Right. But yeah, that's all I really know. I've just, seen some crazy cycles.
You could have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive. Who would they be and why?
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
5 people.
And I'm gonna skip on adding like dead family members and shit. Just trying to get people that I can actually.
Yeah, I want interesting answers. I don't want to say, oh my cousin Dave, he was a good guy. No,
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe you. Dave does seem like a good guy, but it doesn't matter. Okay.
So
I'm really interested in your answer, to be honest.
well, there's 2 that I want to add right off the bat.
Okay.
So no, let's go 3. Fuck, there's 3 guys that I would love to sit and have dinner with, and then I'm going to add 2 for my own selfish reasons.
Perfect.
So we're going to go with Joe Rogan.
That'd be great.
Well, he's a professional long-form conversation haver with the most interesting people in the world.
Minus me.
So, yeah, invite Joe Rogan. He's got some stories, and he's got a lot of other, and he's got other people's stories.
Yeah, and he's got his own stories. Yeah.
And then you get Elon Musk,
Yep, I had him on my list.
and then you get Dan Carlin. Do you know who Dan Carlin is? The host of Hardcore History.
No.
It's an amazing podcast. Dan Carlin does these insane 6-hour journeys into like an epic point in human history. He'll do he's got like a 9-hour series on Genghis Khan,
Jesus.
Revenge of the Khans or whatever he calls it. And it's all about the whole Mongol empire and, all that crazy shit. And so he does some of the World War II podcasts that he has are just so unbelievably in depth. And I would have Dan Carlin, because to hear him talk about history is just mind boggling, the details that he would go into. And then I would invite Brian Johnson from AC/DC.
Of course.
Because I just would love to hear that guy's stories, man. And the 5th person, god damn.
It's a tough one.
Do you just have someone really fun, like have Seth MacFarlane?
You couldn't really go wrong.
Couldn't go wrong. One of my favorite moments with Seth MacFarlane, Dinner of 5. If there used to be a show called Dinner for 5,
Right.
and it was on Bravo, and it was John Favreau hosted it. John Favreau, yeah.
Favreau.
And he would have just random guests, and they would eat dinner, and that was it. And one episode was Tony Hawk and Seth MacFarlane, and 3 other people.
Right.
And Tony Hawk was talking about how he got $1 a board back in high school when he was first becoming famous. Powell and Peralta was making the Tony Hawk board, and they gave him $1 a board.
Right.
And he goes, well, how many boards did they sell? And he goes, oh, about 1 million the first year. And Seth MacFarlane goes, oh, so what'd you do? He goes, oh, I bought a house in grade 11. And Seth MacFarlane goes, I would have so turned to drugs.
Oh my God, the amount of things.
Seth would be great. Got to have Seth.
You ever see those quotes though, like with Tony Hawk, where he was like his teachers would be like, "This is never gonna go anywhere for you," and he's like,
"I'm already a millionaire."
Like, could you imagine, like, because they were that clueless back then.
Yeah, he's
like
sitting,
now
he's
you
in
wouldn't even
science
say
class
that
in grade 11.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm actually, the big house down the street from your house. Yeah, that's mine.
He actually just bought a house, but my parents won't let me move into it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I paid cash because it was, I don't have credit, so I just bought it. God, that's great. What's funny is I almost think it would be fun to intentionally build, like you just said, a conversation.
Right.
Like I want to have an explosive dinner. Like I think I'll have Hillary and Trump. cup.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, you could go that route too, like how
I might just fuck the world up with this one.
Do
you
you
know
want
what I mean?
to take part, or do you just want to eat and observe?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Like,
just,
you just
sit
cut your
back and be
steak.
like, Bernie, take your mittens off so we can fucking get this going.
Yeah.
Just make it a terrible one. But no, if I was really going to, you know what I'd probably do, without going into crazy depth, I would pick a player from each era of hockey.
Oh yeah, so you'd have like Gordie Howe.
Yeah, like, and just go way back all the way to current to just see, because I think it would also be fun to watch like an elite guy now, you know, even someone as old now or seasons now as like a Sidney Crosby. Imagine him sitting there having a conversation with, you know, Bobby Hull or something, like people who were around, like were done before he was born.
Yeah.
You know, because I would definitely be into that, because I've been watching a lot of hockey again lately, and the sport's not what it used to be. I mean, I'm entertained, but I don't love it like I used to. It's not even the same sport.
Yeah.
You know, so I can definitely, like, unlike, you know, how people have their eras in bodybuilding. In hockey, it's not a question. If you ask any hockey player, they will tell you the game is different than it was when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the goalies are completely armored with way more padding.
Well, and everything is just soft.
And,
I mean, like worldwide,
and the hitting rules have changed, and there's all sorts of
fighting rules have changed.
Fighting rules have changed, and yeah.
It's frowned upon. Like, I mean, truthfully, and it's funny because I feel like our entire world just keeps getting softer and softer. Like, you know, kind of back to like we were saying, like Tom Brady taking heat for not wearing a mask. Fuck off.
Yeah. When then he goes and plays the entire game without a mask.
Yeah, and then, or, you know, and they, like, these guys, like, it used to be an unwritten rule if you had a visor on, because when like I played in juniors, not everybody had to wear a visor, so you could have an open face. Or if you were underage, like when I was 16 playing in juniors, we had to wear a mask legally. Right. But if I fought, I would step back and take my entire helmet off.
Right.
Like, you take it off for them. Now in the NHL, if you take your helmet off, it's an additional penalty.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I don't want to fight a guy that 90% of his fucking face is covered.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems pointless. You know? So, yeah, I would like to get that going. I'd probably leave off the current era because they're pussies. But, you know.
That's a good answer.
Back in the early 2000s and go backwards.
There you go. That's a good answer. You could do that a million times. That would be a great show to host again.
That show should come back on that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean,
I could totally see that.
There was like 4 seasons of that show. And they had a bunch of really interesting episodes. There was a couple where the guests started fighting. Like, it wasn't friendly at all.
I can totally see that, though.
I remember one episode. His name is Rory. The actor's name is Rory. And he was, I can't remember his last name, but he was in CSI, the Vegas one.
Oh, right. Actually, love that show.
Yeah. Anyways, the actor's name is Rory, and he was in that. And I think it was the Vegas one. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so he was at the dinner table, and Vince Vaughn was at the dinner table.
I love Vince Vaughn.
And they had like some previous thing where like
they brought it to dinner.
No, Vince like started hammering him. He's like, so blah 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 blah, and you could tell Rory was like, Vince, those people are my friends. We've been through this, like. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, once again, Vince, like I'm friends with them, but blah, blah, blah. And it was this really weird thing where the rest of the table was like, what's going on? And Vince just started being a fucking dick. And I remember after that episode, I was like, Vince Vaughn seems like a fucking prick. He seemed like he was going out of his way to be a super huge dick on that episode. I remember it was really weird. So I always wondered that about him. You know, you wonder how some of these people are in real life.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it my turn?
Sure. Yes, it is your turn.
Would you, so here's a funny question. I'm going to tweak it a little bit. Is there any point of wealth where you would get a custom made toilet?
No.
You'd just buy a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely buy a good one, but yeah, no, I can't even imagine. But I like the question because it's weird enough that I could answer that.
I saw, you know how people get stuff wrapped now?
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll get their car wrapped or whatever, that you can get like toilets wrapped, right? So I've seen some funny toilets on Instagram that are like wrapped with like the logo of the business that they're in.
I don't want to be shitting on my business.
You know what I mean? So you go in, it's like a vinyl wrap. It's just funny. It looks
like,
funny.
Oh my God, that's to be the next thing. Well, if you want, we could sell you our toilet for $1,000 a year. You can be wrapped while people are shitting on it.
PDF of your business logo. We'll wrap the whole thing up for you.
Right here, you're gonna piss right on the logo in the urinal. It's gonna be great.
There you go. Here's a great one. It's just a fun one. We don't have to take it serious. Who wins in a fight? A fat Axl Rose or a fat Vince Neil?
It's a great question. Oh God. I can't see Axl Rose fighting his way out of a wet paper sack, to be honest with you.
No.
I just can't. So like I'm gonna give the victory the other way just by default.
You think Vince would take him?
Yeah, just because I can't see him. Like I can't even imagine him being in a fight. You know, some people they're like, oh, so and so got in a fight and it's some celebrity. You're like, oh, I can see that.
Right.
Like if somebody told me that Tom Hardy knocked someone out of a nightclub, I'd be like, I bet that happened.
Yeah, that could have happened.
I could see that a little bit. You know, I don't like if somebody said that happened with Axl Rose, I'd be like, oh, you mean a security guard punched somebody? Cool, nice.
Yes.
What do you agree? Do you disagree?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. You know, back in the day, I would definitely say Vince would win.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
Well, I only view them back in the day because, you know, after their careers kind of end, in my brain, that's all they are. They don't age. They don't die. They're legends.
That's funny. I had a few, you know, when people, so let's help people out on this. If you want your question answered, you gotta try to keep it to the actual post, because if you send a DM, they get lost.
You know what I mean? I get a couple of those, and I usually, because I'm only on this page when we're talking, I can't.
Right. I know. You get lost. What about oh shit. I had a list of things I was going to ask Dusty, and I had an Ask Dusty list made up here on my phone. Okay. Here's my question for you, Dusty.
Yes.
I still haven't bought a vehicle.
And I've bought like 3 since you started looking, but yeah.
What's wrong with me? Why don't I care enough to pull the trigger on this?
It's probably what's right with you. Like if you here, true story. This is coming from the dumbest person you know who buys cars like some big deal. You drive like 7 miles a day.
Here's a fact. Well, kilometers won't mean anything to you, but I only put 3,000 kilometers on my Jeep last year, which is like, I don't know, 1,700 miles.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you put less miles on your Jeep. I have more miles on my truck. Like here, to give you an idea of how much I drive, I have 8,000 miles on my new truck. It had 4 the day I bought it. So if I'm you, and straight up too, you don't have pristine weather.
1,800 miles. That's how much I drove last year. 1,800 miles.
I have a really hard time telling you that's a good idea to spend any amount of money when you have, number one, because those who don't know, you don't drive a jalopy. You drive an older Jeep, but it's not a piece of shit. It's not dinged up and got a huge dent and broken. You know what I mean?
It's pretty clean. It's decent.
It is, but if you drove around a ton, I could see like, well, you want to have something a little nicer. It'd be really hard for me to tell you, even if you had frivolous extra money, like put a down payment on another house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And because you don't care. Like if you told me I didn't buy a bike, but I started collecting bicycles and I buy them and sell them, I'd be like, that's cool.
Right.
That would make even more sense to me. Like even if you were like, yeah, I built it and I sold it the next day. I'd be like, cool, you making money? Yeah, I made $200. Awesome. Hobby.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. As much as I love to give you shit because I actually know your drive, I'm like, Like, Ron probably has to have his gas removed from the tank because it's going to go bad, and then they put new gas in.
Well, I've got that old Hemi, so no gas gets removed. Yeah. Even though I only drive 3,000 kilometers a year, I still manage to fill up twice a month.
Do you fill up once a month? I was going to say.
No, it's like every 3 weeks I fill up. It still sucks. It sucks gas like a whore. Here's a question. Did you ever go through a phase, and I know the answer for you is probably no, but I have a story about this. Have you ever baked anything or cooked anything for other people because you were dieting and you couldn't enjoy it yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's an example?
I've done multiple Thanksgivings and Christmases while in prep of some sort. So we've had full-on meals that Evian and I had prepared that people came over. So
you prepare? Okay, there you go.
Thanksgiving, the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, I did the bitch work. I'm not over there cooking too much.
Your mashed potatoes.
But you know what's funny too is, and I know you're the same way. I like it. I used to have clients when I was in prep, and I'd send them like to have their cheat meal. I'm like, hey, send me pictures. Send me porn. Send me food porn. I want to see this shit.
Send me porn.
Yeah, this is food porn. Or I used to watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives doing cardio all the time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of bodybuilders do. So same thing with the cooking. And if I make something good, I would absolutely. Like if I knew how to make a hell of a cookie, I'd make you cookies while I was dieting.
Right.
Wouldn't blink.
I remember I used to live with my best friend. We lived together for like 7 years, and he was always trying to gain weight. And I remember one year I was dieting for a show, and he was really trying to gain weight. Mm-hmm. And so I would blend him up these crazy shakes. Like I put ice cream and I'd throw a cookie in there, and I'd fucking blend him up these like gourmet.
Did you ask him like, how is it?
Oh yeah, and then I'd like pour it in. And I remember I chilled a glass. I put a glass in the freezer.
Look at you! You're like the greatest roommate ever.
We were both bartenders, right? So we knew how to do it. So I poured him like a nice frothy shake, and I'd take it over and I'd go, "Hey, try that." And he'd take a drink. He'd be like, "Holy fuck, that's thick and sweet." I'd be like, "Yeah, guzzle that down, guzzle that." Just And
you see what I'm saying? You're getting off on it. Like, tell me about it.
He'd have a hard time drinking. He'd be like, "Fuck, it's so filling." He'd be, he's like, glug, glug, glug. I'm standing there starving. Just fucking, yeah. I can see you gaining weight.
You're growing as I speak.
You're growing as I speak. You are gaining the weight I'm losing.
Freaking great.
I got one more, but you got to go first.
Oh, just fire away, dude. We don't need it's no balancing act. Go.
You don't mind?
No.
I had a good one here. Well, I had a couple. Okay. So someone asked me, they go, do you ever worry about your brand changing as you change and losing followers or interest in your accounts? And then they mentioned my biking. They're like, if you start posting biking stuff, are you worried that your bodybuilding followers are going to leave you?
That's actually a great question. Here's what's funny. So I'm just talking from a fan stance with you. My answer is no. It would, if anything, because this is the connection, and I'm actually working with the athletes from Condemned Labs now on how to do this better. I like knowing what you do. I don't care that I don't do it. And you are still a absolute voice in the sport. Like, I cannot replace, there are very few people, truthfully, in the industry who I can communicate with that have your knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of it's like if I look at Aceto, right? I don't think Chris even goes to the gym anymore. But as fascinated as I am with the bodybuilding side, I wish he would put more real estate stuff up.
Right. Because
that was one of the most fascinating things I learned about him when I worked with him, was when I found out that he doesn't do a little real estate. He owns a city, more or less.
Right.
And that was like, oh. And now, of course, you and I have both went to him for advice on building our portfolios and those things,
Yeah.
So no, I don't. And I think also if you do lose people, you gain new ones, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know. Plus, I think the other thing for me, the final is, I mean, obviously I like the number, my reach to be good because that creates a value for finances. But I have never in my life stopped and said, if I post this, will I lose followers?
Right.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like if I want to put something up, I will. And it's the same thing with like the way I do my personal life or the dogs or my truck. Like I don't care. Like this is my page. It's what I want to do. If I want to post a picture of my truck every damn day, you might get bored of it and stop following me. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny because it never crossed my mind until this person brought it up.
Yeah, because that's not how you think.
I never thought like, oh, if I post this video, this bike video on my story, someone might not like it.
Right.
Never crossed my mind. First of all, another thing, Dusty, how about this? How about I still, and it must be a generational thing, I still have an absolute disconnect between what I put on my Instagram and what I think the people in my life, like whenever somebody from the gym goes, oh, I saw your video or I saw your story or I saw your post, there's always like, oh, you did?
Right.
Like my real world life as one of the owners of West Coast that interacts with members, I forget that this world and my Instagram world all mix with that. Like I quite often I put stuff on Instagram and I think it just goes out out to sea.
Right.
And then someone from the gym will be like, oh, I saw your video. And there's always like a little bit of like, oh, you did? Like,
Right.
It's just funny. And sometimes I'm not one of those people that like, you know how some people like, they always check to see who saw their story and all that stuff.
Right.
I swear I push that button like once a month.
Yeah, because you'll ask me on multiple occasions. You're like, I don't know if you saw my story. I'm like, I saw it. And
Right,
because we communicate back and forth, I do know this about the algorithms and stuff. If you opened it, you would know I saw it because I'd be in the top little group of your people who saw it.
Because we message.
Yeah, so you would see me up high by default. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I just don't check
if
that.
You open if you looked at every time Emily likes your picture, it'll always be in the top 3 little bubbles for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because how you go back and forth. So yeah, you don't register that way. But you know what's crazy? The world really does. It's funny. I had a bad experience today. Good for me, but bad in general. I've been dealing with Cox, the cable company here, since I moved into this place. I've had issues with the bill.
Right.
So finally, I got a call today that I had an $800 bill. I was like, fuck it. I'm driving in. I just have to deal with this. I go in, calm. I said, look, dude, this is a train wreck. Gave him the rundown, right? Here's what I need. Okay, we'll see what we can do. Here's what I get. Very nice guy, but it was very like, we'll see. He goes back to talk to the manager. Well, when he comes out, a guy who had apparently just moved to town recognized me, introduced himself. Oh, love your content, yada, yada, yada. Then he walks away. He leaves. I told him about my gym, stuff like that. Then literally 2 minutes later, a girl walked over and asked for a picture. So took a picture. She leaves. Next thing I know, the manager's helping me, and it's all handled.
Right.
And I'm like, what a fucked up world. So just because you've realized there may be some sort of pull, some sort of negative action that might take place, now you give a fuck about my problem. Whereas before it was we'll see. Now it's you're not dealing with the sales associate anymore.
Right.
And I left it. I texted a friend of mine. I'm like, this is a fucked up world. Like, so what? My mom would have been shit on in the exact same scenario.
Right. That's interesting.
So there is a like you said that off to see thing in your brain. The rest of the world doesn't see it that way. And I'm the same way. Like I always call it the fake land, because if I stop posting tomorrow, in a week, no one will give a shit.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that negatively, and I appreciate everybody that does, but that's just how life works. And that's cool, but you have to keep that in mind. And that's why people like you and I, it's like, just put up what I want. The only thing I have to do is remember to put things up.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think if actually I know this, if it weren't for some form of business, I wouldn't have social media. I find there's a lot of headaches that come with it for people and their relationships and stuff.
Right.
I'm like, I don't need that. I'll text Ron the picture myself if I want him to see it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I remember I saw someone like, I don't know why I remember this, but The Rock posted like a picture of his tequila.
Right.
And someone commented like, we're not going to buy your fucking tequila, man. Just post your normal shit. I remember just thinking like, there's people out there that take the time to write that on, first of all, The Rock's going to post whatever the fuck he wants. Secondly, he's always trying to make a buck. So
if you haven't figured out what he's doing.
Yeah. Like, you know, that post that you liked? Yeah. He's wearing Under Armour head to toe in it. Did you notice the Under Armour?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just don't get it. They just don't get how it works. So some people are like that. Some people don't want you to change.
Right.
They want you to fit perfectly into this convenient slot. Dusty Hanshaw is a bodybuilding information source for me. Mm-hmm. He's not allowed to have an outside interest, and if he posts about something else, I'm actually gonna take the time to be irritated.
I like when they tell you that they're unfollowing you. I'm like,
yeah,
you could have just left. I didn't. Okay. Like,
yeah.
You know, especially if it's because I do find it funny. Like, so my video guy from last weekend is a Democrat and voted for Biden. And he and I were giving each other shit all weekend. I was like, well, I mean, obviously we have to wear this fucking mask. It's your country now. You know, like just jabs. And I remember, like, we were laughing because, like, could you imagine how seriously the rest of the world would take this conversation? I'm like, we don't give a fuck. Like, it's cool. He's wrong. I'm right. It's fine. But
he's wrong. I'm right.
But you know what I mean? Like I still text him today, and we're still friends. And the rest of the world, you can't disagree on anything. Or like the RDL stiff leg that you sent me yesterday. I was laughing because I'm like, here, Ron and I have a totally different version of what it means. So you should probably have just unfollowed me immediately.
Right.
And
I almost did.
That guy.
So I want to talk about that.
Yeah, you should throw this up now that I brought it up blindly.
So one thing that I think there's confusion on, and it's just a linguistics issue, is I use the term stiff leg deadlift for any hamstring dominant deadlift. That's just it's what comes out of my mouth.
Right.
It's what I say.
Stretch position,
stretch position, hip extension with a barbell in your hands.
Right.
I call it a stiff leg dead. I always have. You know, like if you watch Blood and Guts, you'll see Dorian do stiff leg deads on the platform.
Right.
You know, he picks it up off the floor, but then he goes down like mid shin and back up, and it's very ham glute dominant, just a hamstring dominant deadlift. But now there's people that when I say stiff leg deadlift, they think I mean like with your legs like fucking locked out.
Right.
And I'm like, no. There's a bit of a bend in there, and you can move a little bit, and it's about working the hamstrings and finding your groove, and you know there's you know, but now RDL is the super popular thing, and I'm not sure who to blame for RDL. I kind of want to blame Jordan. It's like I don't really remember anyone saying RDL. Like I don't remember RDL being used a lot until like Jordan Peters was really getting big on the RDLs.
Right.
And I was just kind of watching it going, oh, that's just like a stiff leg deadlift, but he's kind of touching the floor.
Right.
That's all I saw it as. But then you had that question that really wanted to differentiate between the two. And I felt like.
And I painted my picture like, that's not what I.
Yeah. And then you were like, stiff leg deadlifts can be dangerous. And I was like, oh, so that, you know, you're talking about like locking a leg. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. I don't know. There's no point to any of that. I just
actually doesn't matter, but it's funny because that is back to what I was saying. Like, I could see in our world two people arguing over that, and it's like, you know, you guys agree, right?
Well, then that's almost a metaphor for like the last 4 years of politics.
Right.
A lot of like, just you realize that on like 90% of issues, you guys agree. Like, you know,
but you just fight on you fight on 100% because the other guy's wrong.
Yeah, you know, so yeah, I was, you know, I use the term stiff leg deadlift, but I don't mean to lock your legs and do like a fucking perfectly straight leg and all that stuff. And just, you know, I feel like I'm misunderstood, Dusty.
You know what's funny is I used like 2 years ago, I said French press. So I'm talking to a trainer, and he looked at me. Got like the dog look where the head tilted.
Yeah.
I was like, French
Like
press.
behind the head, easy bar.
I was like, yeah, I go, okay, so behind the neck, tricep extension? He goes, oh, yeah. I was like, same shit.
Yeah.
Call it what you will. The thing where you put the arms up over your head, they were bent. You good?
They're there.
We all good here?
Did you love my extremely popular comment on your picture when I asked if you were camping?
It was funny because I got so much that weekend. I was so busy, and I kept wanting to go back there and say glamping real quick.
Someone else did.
Yeah. Oh, did they?
Yeah, someone else said he's glamping. Yeah.
I was blown. You know what's crazy is I've had a few posts recently where, like, you ever notice when you put some thought into something, like it's kind of a heavy topic, and people are like, and then I'm like, I like hot dogs, and I get 700 comments, and I've had that happen a few times recently where I'm like, I was going to answer those, but man, there's 150 comments.
Yeah.
So we just hit one button that says thanks to everybody. So I find myself by default doing what you're not supposed to do, which is only answering the assholes.
And you're not interacting with the actual fans?
Yeah, the people who actually bring value to the page.
Yeah, that want to tell
that are actually helpful in doing something beneficial for me and for them. I ditch them to talk shit to the asshole. And I'm like, damn it. Tricked again by the dumbass.
Yes. Well, it's not the first time, Dusty.
No, I'm not a difficult one to trick, so let's be honest here.
So we got so next Sunday's Valentine's Day.
What are you doing? You gonna buy me something nice?
No, I was just saying, what's your Valentine's weekend look like?
Everyone
knows I'm booked
Will's
up.
in town.
Oh,
So Will's in town. He's supposed to be hanging out with his wife. So he's going to train with us 2 days in a row. So my videos are going to have a version of Leroy Davis in them.
make sure that you wear red and white. It's all red and white for Valentine's Day.
Can I have some pink? Because I like those light pink.
Yeah, red, white, and pink. Perfect. Valentine's Day. Red, white, and pink.
Yeah, I can do that.
Do it up. Do it up. It's team effort. Everyone in the video.
Yeah, I like to look sharp. You know what? Truthfully, all kidding aside, I've never celebrated. Well, I shouldn't say never. I've never enjoyed celebrating Valentine's on Valentine's. We have always went a day before, a day after, because I hate limited menus.
Yeah, and bullshit crowds and waiting for tables and bullshit. Yeah, nonsense.
Well, I mean, I'm fortunate because I know so many people. Like, I get into a restaurant the day before Valentine's Day, no problem. But you go in, and because they're moving tables, they're like, here's your menu. It has 7 things. I'm like, where's the normal menu? I come here all the time.
Yeah. Let's just come on a Tuesday and we'll celebrate Valentine's Day.
So literally, that has always been my move. So every year, no matter what the day is, Valentine's, we don't do shit. And a couple days before or after, that's Valentine's Day.
So Emily's birthday is this week.
She's 26?
Yeah,
Jesus.
26 again. 26 again. So tomorrow I'm taking her to my buddy's got a really cool business, Mint Smile Bar. Give him a little plug.
What is that?
We're getting our teeth like super whitened, and we're getting like moisture facials and everything. It's gonna be like the fanciest most metrosexual thing I've ever done.
Are you gonna shave your face before you go?
Well, I'll just trim around to, make sure my hair's trimmed up.
God damn it.
They're going to moisturize, around the eyes and, I'm not getting any Botox or anything. I said, give me the non-surgical Mike O'Hearn.
And he's like, that doesn't exist. That's all surgery.
And he's like, okay, it's some expensive creams involved, but we can do that. We'll call it the Hollywood. And I was like, give me the Hollywood.
They actually call it that?
Yeah. So I'm getting the Hollywood. Hollywood on the face.
You whiten the teeth too?
Yeah, they do the teeth. It's Smile Bar. That's the main thing.
My teeth are terrible. Fuck.
I just, we'll go for it.
I like it. And does she know?
Yeah. So she's going to consider this like a huge effort on my part.
Well, yeah, you're definitely scoring laid points for sure.
Yeah, she knows. I had to tell her. I'm like, hey, we're going to Smile Bar. We got a couple hours. We got afternoon.
Are you going to wear jeans?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeans and my red Chucks.
You see what's happening right there?
No, actually,
that's prepared for like fancy. You got jeans on.
Yeah. No, it's going to be an afternoon date. We're going to the Smile Bar together, like couples do. We haven't done like a couple thing in a long time, other than the whole
which isn't couple. That's
just
cardio.
human.
Yeah, it's a human thing.
Okay,
it's fantastic. Smile Bar. Everybody go visit the Smile Bar.
That.
Yeah, I just skipped it for you. I tried to run by it for those who.
That's so funny. What's funny is that when I send her text messages, like I'll text her, I'll be like, hey, what time are you home from the gym? And then I'll send this one and this one.
Classy. No wonder she loves you.
Hey, what time are you done with clients? Bing.
Hey, Ron, I have a question for you. Have you ever accidentally sent one of your clients a message that was for Emily? Never mind. I know the answer.
So
go. You have to tell the story.
There are 2 incidents. There are 2 times in my life when I have sent a text that was very clearly for Emily.
Because you were requesting groceries. Got it.
And yeah, it was a list of groceries that I was going to require later.
List of things I wanted in my mouth.
Things I want later. Yeah, there were 2 times when I accidentally sent an Emily text to someone else. One time went to a very good female friend of mine that I've known for 20 years.
What was her response?
Well, she was not surprised that I would say such things. I'm pretty sure that she probably knew it wasn't for her before she got to the end. Like she probably figured out this was. And then my immediate. Long enough
that you said that there was an end. Like you drug the hand. By paragraph 3, she realized it was not for her.
So what I'm gonna do to you tonight is first I'm gonna da, and then the da, and then maybe at the end I'll fit in some of this. Yeah. Oh, and then the very next text, like 30 seconds later, is like obviously a mistake, not meant for you. Sorry about that one. Yeah, she just replied with like, "Oh, Ron," or something, and
have
like
fun,
a laughing face. And then another time I was sitting down. Oh God, do I have to tell this?
Yes,
I was sitting down, and sometimes you just have like a spontaneous erection, right? Like you just think to yourself, you're like, here I am. I'm supposed to be doing some work, but I've got like a raging hard on, right? I mean, It happens. And so I kind of gave it a flex, when you flex it, Fuck, and it was like moving in my jeans, right? I was making my jeans go up and down. So I videoed it.
Oh, God.
I was flexing it.
And it's so bad.
It's moving in my jeans. And I was like, oh, look who's, and I think I was talking like, oh, look who's awake. Like
so fucking bad.
So just terrible. And then I like sent the video, but when you're having like multiple conversations, like you're clearing things up with clients and then you take a minute to video your dick and then you go back to, and then I realized I sent the video to a client.
And he or she was the receiver.
I just immediately said, please do not open that. Of course, I assume they did, but there was a lot of laughter ensued. And don't worry. Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. If you sent that, if somebody sent something that said, do not open that, I'd be like, well, fuck, now I have to.
Yeah,
I have to
there's
know.
No win there. There's no win. You just hope the dust settles and everything's okay and life moves on. Right?
Well, I mean, listen, we can't really end the show on a better note than you videoing your penis through your jeans. So
we've all done that.
And talk to it during the process.
Well, it's part of the video. You're trying to be funny, right? You're like, oh, look who's awake. I can't remember. It's a little blurry. I tell the story with a bit of blur, but Oh
my God, my face hurts.
But luckily, I found out through my fuck ups in life, generally from beginning to end, that every time I fuck up and I'm a little horrified, I realize that no one else is really surprised.
Yeah, you've established how fucked up you are in general. And
so
it's
everyone just
no shock to you.
Yeah, like it just kind of like is okay. And I'm like, oh, wow. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, Dusty, but here we are.
We're still here. People are still, as far as I know, still listening. They might have stopped during that conversation, but whatever.
Okay. On that note, thanks everybody. So I think we should book a guest for next week.
Deal.
Because I've got one waiting. I'll have to send a text. We'll see if we can make it happen. So we'll talk about that right after we're done.
Sounds good.
Okay. We'll see you guys later. Remember, everybody, like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell. It's just bodybuilding.